All right, here we go. On top of this, right, we are talking today about the distributive property. Distributive property. Okay, distributive property is kind of just like it says. The little distributive property, if you distribute stuff, here's your mnemonic device, distribute. If you distributed stuff, like if I distribute papers, it's like I go to each one of you and pass things out. That's something to keep in mind when you think or hear about the distributive property. And it is based like on this. First of all, to have the distributive property, you must see somewhere parentheses. You cannot have the distributive property without parentheses. And what it is, it's based on this thought. Let me see if I can give you the deductive lead. If I have 2 times 3 plus 6. If you were given that problem to do, what would be the first thing you would do? Riley?
You would add 3 plus 6.
Yeah, because in order of operations, it says to do parentheses first. Okay, so you would add the 3 plus the 6, you would get 9. And then the next thing you do is the multiplication, which is 2 times 9, which is 18. And that's all well and good. Well, there are times when you won't be able to add the things in the parentheses, like there'll be a letter there and you can't combine them. Well, when that's the case, and I'll show you, if you would like, there is also the distributive property that says if you have something outside of the parenthesis, you can distribute it or multiply it by everything inside the parenthesis. And we should write that out. Well, let's do it and then I'll show you. Because 2 times 3 is 6, correct? 2 times 6 is 12. And you'll look, when you add 6 and 12, you will get the same 18 that you got over here. Okay, so we're going to write that out. What you need to do is to multiply what is outside of parentheses by, and here's key, it has to be by everything. Here's where people go wrong, they don't do it by everything, they just do the first one. Inside the parentheses. Or in math, you would say this term on the outside gets multiplied by every term on the inside. And then the other thing I would put in big old letters and put a big asterisk by is, write this, beware of negatives and minuses. Is there ES minuses? Is that right? Minuses. I'll give you a chance to write that and then we will talk about it. Like I said, I can't tell you the number of people that struggle with this, and it's really not that hard, per se. Alright, got this one down. We need a new screen.
Okay, cancel.
Perfect. So let's say I've got this. I'll go back if you need it. Here would be a case where you can't add the things in the parentheses together. I can't put a 3 with a B, they're totally different. But I can get rid of the parentheses by using the distributive property. And what that says is I take this 5 and I'm going to multiply it by both things in the parentheses. 5 times 3 is 15, and 5 times B is 5B. And that's as much as you can do because these are what we call not like terms. You can't put B's with numbers. This is all that you can do for this right now. It's the first step in doing something here. There's no more to it than that. You've just rid yourself of those parentheses by the distributive property. Right?
Would that be the answer or would?
That would be, this would be, it's not really an answer, it's in its simplest form. So they'd probably tell you to simplify. And this would be the answer you put on your paper. It really doesn't mean much to anybody at this point, but eventually it will.
So it couldn't be 20B?
Nope, not the same thing. Not the same thing. 15 does not mix together with 5B. Now, it doesn't matter how many things you have in the parentheses, I could have this, check this out. I can have 3 times A plus B plus C, and I'm gonna throw a minus in here, minus D. And if they asked you to do the distributive property, you are just going to take that 3, and like I said, it has to be by every term, everything in that parentheses. You're going to multiply it by the A, you're going to multiply it by the B, you're going to multiply it by the C, and you're going to multiply it by the minus D, which is going to give you 3 times A is just 3A, plus, because this is an addition sign, 3 times B is 3B, plus 3 times C, which is 3C. This is a minus, beware of that, it needs to be a minus there. 3 times D is 3D. 3D, how about that? And this is all that you can do with it. It's an expression, it doesn't give you a straight up answer to anything, it just is simplified, it's easy to understand. Sometimes it'll help you in working out a problem. What would be a case when this could help you working out a problem? Here would be a case. Let's say you have this, 2 times x plus 2 equals, let's say, 14. Now you probably could figure that out like that without that there, because you'd say what 2 times what gives you 14. But if you wanted to use the distributive property here, what would you do? You'd multiply the 2 times the x and the 2 times the 2, so you'd end up with 2x, 2 times 2 is plus 4, equals 14. What would be my answer to that? Well, what number when you add 4 to it gives you 14? 10. 2 times what is 10?
5.
Yeah, x would be 5. As it would be here as well. Because you could do the same thing there. 2 times what number is 14? 7. What number plus 2 gives you 7? 5. Either way it would be the same, but this is using the distributive property. Don't worry, if you're only slightly confused now, you will be absolutely more confused in a second. Is that good or bad? Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe yes, maybe no. Let me give you one and you do it for me. How about this? 8 times, in parentheses, w minus 2. If I asked you to use the distributive property and simplify, what would you give me for the answer? Make sure you're writing these examples down, because words mean not as much as examples might help you out. 8 times w minus 2. 8 times w minus 2. Distribute out the 8, multiply by everything that's in there. If you look at the directions say take the thing on the outside of the parenthesis and multiply it by the things inside the parenthesis. If you do that, again, tell me what doesn't, it's just doing it. The light switch is either on or off, there's no complicated math things. 8 is going to get multiplied by both these things inside the parenthesis. What is 8 times w? Keith?
8W.
Yep, you can't do anything with it but put 8 next to the w, and then what's 8 times 2? 16, and this is a minus, so this has to be a minus. How many people got that? How about this one? 3 times 9 plus q. Use the distributive property. Right, if you look at your directions, just says multiply the thing outside of the parenthesis by whatever's inside the parenthesis. Notice if you got two things in the parenthesis, you'll have two things in your answer separated by an addition sign. And if you do that, if you take 3 times 9 plus q, Emily, you'll get,
27 plus 3.
what's that?
27 plus 3.
Yes. 3 times 9 is 27. 3 times q is 3q, and there's an addition sign, so you just put plus. 27 plus 3q. But if you have, let's do a really long one, I'm going to try to confuse you. 7 times x plus y minus z minus 4. You're going to take the thing outside of the parenthesis and multiply it by all things inside the parenthesis. How many things are inside the parenthesis? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 things in the parenthesis. 4 things in your answer. Mitch, what's 7 times x?
7x,
Very good. Mitch, what's 7 times y?
7y,
Mitch, what's 7 times minus z?
7 minus c,
Well, 7 minus 7z, yes. And what's 7 times 4?
28.
28. And that's a minus because it's a minus. These are minuses, these are minuses. These are pluses, those are pluses. This would be the whole shooting match there. I sense victory. Let's do one more. What if it was 9 times m plus p minus 12? 9 times m plus p minus 12. You will have 3 things in your answers because there's 3 things right there. And when we do that multiplication there, Riley gets
9m plus 9p minus 108.
Stop me there if you don't get where that comes from. It's just 9 times m, 9 times p, 9 times 12. Where does this minus sign come from? Right here. Where does this plus sign come from? Right there. You keep whatever sign is up there, you keep there. Now, in order for you to properly amaze your friends, you need to take out a blank piece of paper